Subsequently working with frameworks, which are sort of, you could call them full stack framework like Django, and the Wagtail content management system. I think these types of experiences are, you can't find it in the JavaScript ecosystem, unfortunately. I've looked and would really like for something mature to arise there with like a batteries included maturity, long-term horizon mindset. Most of this stuff is very churning. Even the popular, libraries reinvent themselves every couple of years, and your code from just 1 or 2 years ago is just looking obsolete. It's just dysfunctional. So that's a little bit of an aside, a little bit of a tangent there. So we're working with the Wagtail CMS is where I was taking us. And the Wagtail CMS is inspired by a WordPress user experience. It's built on Django, so it provides the Django developer experience and sort of the Python mentality of, and Django idiomatic flow. So we define models that interact with the database. We send those to the end user via views that render templates, and a template can be typically a markup language like HTML, but it could also be JSON or something like that. So Wagtail, now that it's running, we can take a look. Sits atop of Django and gives us a nice user experience for the person who's managing the website, content manager. This is our Western Friend website, and we needed a content management system so that the editor of Western Friend can easily publish magazine issues and books and other online content. And they do so via the Wagtail admin, which is where we're going to be spending our time today. Wagtail takes the concept of Django models and views and URL mappings and combines them into one sort of idea called a page. A Wagtail page is basically a data model that has some fields, some panels for rendering and editing and management interface. So you can, these columns are based on the fields of the magazine issue model, and you can have related entities, sub-entities, like articles are part of a magazine issue. You can override this user interface. These are buttons I've added here to give you quick actions, like listing the related articles, which are essentially children of the issue. They're contained within there. And then editing an issue. For example, I should have edited an article. Then you have nice widgets for the data. All of this is auto-generated by Wagtail, the page model. So it renders the admin interface for you with some customizability. And what we're going to look at today is the concept of an author here in our data model is somebody who's written a piece of content. And those authors are typically people, meetings, or organizations. By the way, this is also automatically generated by the Wagtail interface. All I do is define a little bit of code, mostly declarative code, to say this is the name of the menu entry, these are the sub-entry items. So it really saves you a lot of time and gives you a very nice, very elegant administrative interface. Today I've got a bug I'm going to be troubleshooting. When we add a person, and people can author articles or media items and things like that. That's how we're using people in our system. When I add a person or edit, we have a given name and a family name. First, so given name and family name. It also has like inline commenting, all sorts of things that are very nuanced. Field collapsing, linking directly to a field. So when I save this model, we're going to get an error. This is the bug I'm going to be fixing. If I publish or save draft, I think would also perhaps give me the error, but I'll go ahead and try to publish this. And we should see a bug. Actually, it worked. Given name, family name worked. Maybe the bug was, transient. Let me edit this. What's supposed to be happening is that these two fields are concatenated behind the scenes to be a URL slug. Okay, so actually my code is working. Yesterday I was working in another part of the project, and when I was saving some entities in the database so I could set up some dummy data to work with while writing some other unit tests, this wasn't automatically being populated. There's a small JavaScript that runs and does this. So I can spend a little bit of time today, maybe a half hour at the most, seeing if I can improve the JavaScript. It's here, it's this contact person slug. It's like the 0.01% of our JavaScript in the project is probably this file. In fact, it is the only JavaScript file in our project. You can get really far with most, like 80% of web applications are essentially based around submitting data to the server and getting a response back and rendering that to the user. And you can get really far with just a framework like Django out of the box. And for dynamic parts of the template that maybe you want a little bit more responsiveness, there's the emerging HTMX, which is built on the back of basically our XML and asynchronous or AJAX basically requests, and you more or less wire up your template to make basic requests and received responses in the markup. You don't have to go very far. You don't need a whole JavaScript front-end framework, which that's where the pain begins. As soon as you introduce a build tool particularly, and if you want to dedicate to a full single page application mindset, you've bifurcated your project, you're in basically a split brain situation, and you probably need a second developer at the minimum. It's not sustainable, not for this scale of a project. And I believe at least 60% of projects that exceeds the or sustainability threshold. 80% of project, I think you can get by with just a Django type of situation, and 60% of projects probably aren't going to have very much in terms of, you're going to be conservative with the number and types of developers you hire for your projects or are involved in, especially open source projects. Okay. I don't know if there's a better way. Maybe we can ask for some coding advice from ChatGPT. Just out of curiosity to see what we get back. Let's first ask what kind of feedback GPT can provide about the code. It might even spot a bug. Code is quite good and you are following a lot of best practices. Here are a few comments and suggestions. Comments. You are doing an excellent job commenting your code. Each function has an explanation of its purpose, which is great for readability and maintainability. Keep it up. Okay, so I do have these doc strings. I think the JavaScript doc strings go outside the function, if I recall correctly. Variable naming. Your variable naming is clear and consistent, which improves the readability of the code. Code structure. Your code is structured in a logical and well-organized manner. It is clear what each part of the code is supposed to do. Here are a few suggestions that might improve the code. Here we go. Error handling. You might want to add some error handling code. For example, what if the elements with ID given name or ID family name or ID slug don't exist. That's a good point, because this, unfortunately, is running on every page model. Whenever you edit anything in the system, this JavaScript gets invoked. So that's actually an improvement we could make, is just only run this when I'm editing a person. That's the first thing. All right. We'll just make note of these. Error handling is good. Unicode handling. The clean for slug function allow Unicode parameter controls whether or not to return the slug text as is. However, your comment mentions that if allow Unicode is false, Unicode characters should be replaced with ASCII equivalents. Your current code does not implement this. It merely removes the consecutive hyphens. Consider adding this feature or removing the parameter if it is not needed. Yeah, I don't know if you should allow Unicode and page slugs, and URL slugs. So we'll look for any best practices there. Our audience here is in the western half of the United States, pretty much. So I'm not anticipating a lot of Unicode, although there are a lot of Spanish speakers there, and there's a couple of non-ASCII characters in the Latin Spanish alphabet. Listener unregistration. In your register event name listeners function, you are attaching event listeners, but not providing any mechanism to remove them. Although this may not be a problem in many cases, if your script is part of a larger application where components can be mounted or unmounted, you may want to remove listeners when they are not needed to prevent memory leaks. That's a good point. As far as I can tell, when I navigate between Wagtail pages, we get a full navigation. Like a full page. With some caching. I don't think I need to necessarily unregister those. Function placement. As a best practice, consider defining all of your functions at the top of your script before they are called. This improves code organization and readability. It is not an issue in your case since you are using function declarations which are hoisted, but it's a good practice to follow when using code in JavaScript. That's one that gets me with Python, is that it doesn't hoist the functions, so I get a little bit of... I just have to be more careful in Python. JavaScript's a little bit more lenient about that. Okay, I could probably do that. Use const for variables that don't change. In the generate auto slug function, you're defining slug text with let. But it seems you never reassign it. You could use const instead. However, you'd have to slightly refactor your code as const requires the variable to be immediately initialized. Okay, I thought I generate auto slug. could do that so I can check it here. But I could just put an else. Make these consts anyway. Essentially moving this down to else. I'm sort of mixing my Python idioms too. Copiling up a little bit here. Strangely, saying it's never accessed, so there's something I'm not understanding. Okay. Let's ask for some help from... Let's triage these ideas. Okay, so first, maybe using const. And there's probably a bigger fish to fry. That's it. Unit test the code. And I'm not sure how to unit test the Wagtail admin interface. That's a big one. Dating a person. We want to run custom JavaScript. I want the official documentation. Dang it. I don't know. I've tried DuckDuckGo search, I've tried Brave search. I like the idea of privacy protecting search, but it just, the results are hit or miss. Hit or miss. This is from 2019. Things aren't super fast moving here. But here's it, the idea is it's global, and I would like to insert them locally. So here's a contact person slug. This is the JavaScript. It's just in our core app here. We'll create a branch here. We got this common app. I think it's a little bit better of a place. For these static and templates to be defined in common. I'll leave them alone though. Okay, so what we're doing is under the contact app, we have, oh, actually it's under the community app. My top level menu item here is community. And there's a community app, and then it defines these sub items which come from all across the project. They're all community related. So I think our Wagtail hooks is here under community, where we are defining register some JavaScript where we're adding this contact person slug. I'd like to do this conditionally. And it doesn't look like, at least it doesn't look like our language server is getting any information about editor.js. Here's the Wagtail official website. It's pretty easy to get started with Wagtail once you've got a Python project started. You don't, it'll set up Django and everything, all of its dependencies for you. One command and you've got a CMS ready to roll. Super easy, really great community, really great user experience, really great developer experience. I'm a big fan of Wagtail. What we're looking for is the documentation. It's got good documentation too. Great, it's pretty close to great. It's got a user guide, which is pretty great. Even though, honestly, the interface is fairly intuitive, I would say. All right. So we're gonna, I think, look under extending. And there's layers of Wagtail. I have no idea about what's going on. But I've gotten really far with just minimal understanding. So interesting. You can make custom UI components. Wow. That are just generically available in the Wagtail admin. Crazy. Yeah, that figures. I haven't done that. Very cool. Wow. So this is in a way what we're looking for. I have a where I just want to define the custom media, but on the contact or the person edit page. I'll have to look into this. There's probably a lot of use cases for this. I just kind of clicked on it randomly. Reports are cool. It can have integrated data visualizations, especially with its template components library. It's basically written in Python, and you return, you grab data from the database, render it as HTML. I mean, this is very powerful. And again, it's another reason why you don't need a front-end single page application framework to do quite powerful things, and you stay right within Python if that's where you're comfortable working. I'm a big fan of the Python language. All right, but what we're looking for is generic JavaScript. Wow, this is tasks, background tasks too. Not quite. Moderation steps. So it has a moderation workflow, which we're not using. So you can have authors writing articles and then an editor reviewing them. Huh, okay, there we go. So we're essentially adding additional style sheets and or JavaScript. Or model admin class. Okay. This is it. I want it to be targeted, so I did it wrong. I registered it as a global. I don't want it on the index view. I want it on the edit view, the create and edit view. You should have set the following attributes: form view extra CSS, form view extra JS. Very interesting. I don't even need to really just format it. This wasn't written a couple years ago. I don't know if the git blame is available. Probably one of the earlier things I wrote in the project. So what we're going to do then is go back to our model under contact. Nope, sorry. We're going to go to where we've defined our model admin, which is here under the Wagtail hooks. Okay. So this approach allows you to insert JavaScript globally. We should no longer need that. We're registering our model admin here. We have a community group. And if I scroll up, we should have contact. I don't like how Mac OS X kind of penalizes non-magic mice. Like the scrolling is so jerky here. How do I get smooth scrolling? Person model admin, here we go. So it looks like we are going to put form view extra JS. And inside of that, that's correct. That's much cleaner. Basically one line of code compared to this manual approach where I rendered in the template. I don't know, I'm pretty sure this existed and I opened a Stack Overflow and just didn't know about this. Now let's see if it works here. On our documents, we should no longer see form view. If I look at the JavaScript, we should no longer see contact person slug. It's not there. But if I go to community people and I edit a person, we should see a bunch of stuff happening apparently. See it load in. Downstairs. That's not how we do that. Split, like the lower half. How do I get it to be on the lower half? That's a bit better. And I should be able to filter this. Filter or find here. No matches found. So now we're just going to go to page, community, people, cancel that. Wait a minute. Yes, community, people. Yes. Add person. Huh. Alright, so I'm not doing something right. Familiarize yourself with the attributes and methods supported by Model Admin class that allow you to change what is displayed in the index view. The following page should give you everything you need to go. Customizing the index view, the listing. The Model Admin class provides several attributes to enable you to easily add additional style sheets in JavaScript to the admin interface for your model. Each attribute simply needs to be a list of paths to the files you want to include. JS contact person slug. I'm going to delete this while I'm here. Let me make sure I'm in the right model. Person model admin. JS. Form view extra JS. Because we're dealing with the family name and given name. List of paths. I'm pretty sure this, maybe a leading slash would help. To the files you want to include. If the path is for a file in your project's static directory, then Wagtail will automatically prepend the path with static URL, so that you don't need to repeat it each time in your list of paths. Okay, it is in our static. So leading slash doesn't strike me as correct. You'd like to add style sheets to the index view? Not what we're after. If you'd like to do the same for create view and edit view, you should set the following attributes. Form view extra CSS, form view extra JS, where each item is the path name of a JavaScript file that you'd like to include. Maybe it's something to do with collect static. But we're not even getting a 404, or else I'm just completely overlooking it. I don't understand. This is a model admin. I have a bunch of properties. Customizing the index view. So it's telling me how to define the panels. Or you can define them on the model or the model admin. Might make more sense to add them on the model admin. I don't know. A list of path names of additional style sheets to be added. Created. See the following part of the docs to find it. Yeah, I mean, I already did that. Form view, extra, so we got model admin. A list of path names. One thing shouldn't matter, but I can move this out of core. We got static CSS, that's good. Image, but this JS, maybe I'll move to the contact. This is more naturally related. Code-wise, so that kind of consolidates our app, but that doesn't fix the doesn't fix the underlying issue. Maybe moving stuff around will go like jiggle the handle a little bit. These kind of issues, though, are rare with Wagtail and Django, but nonetheless do occur in development where just something doesn't work, and then you do have, like, essentially you're beating your head against a wall. If it doesn't work, then I don't have much else I can do. Sort of my hands are tied. I don't know what to do to troubleshoot this. Unfortunate. Don't feel this level of frustration much with Wagtail nonetheless does exist. You know, I can flail around with like a really vague search like this. It doesn't seem like it's working. I mean, and other people aren't having this issue, so it's saying there's something wrong with my setup. I'm not even getting 404. This is a bit different. Did try the collect static approach. Let me try that again. However, it's supposed to be running in debug. All right, let's check our static root. Had it in 2 locations. That's interesting. If I clear cache and reload, let me just try this in the Wagtail, the Firefox admin, because I'm not so familiar with Chrome. It doesn't seem like that's the issue though. It seems like it should just be appearing there in the network console. Alright, so when I make a request in Firefox, it's off stream, I know. There's no slug loaded. The only thing I can think is maybe this is a bug in the Wagtail admin. I don't know, what am I doing wrong? There's a filter right there. I will request that. Now, we should have a new menu item over here. It says people. And when I add a person, it's going to take us to the same location. No slug loaded. So let's revert that change. I'll just double check that when I create a new person, nothing happens. Nothing happens. Yeah, grab a little bit of tea real quick. All right, so if I can't get this to work in the next few minutes, then I'm gonna have to move on to a different task. This is not crucial. It's better code. It's more idiomatic code, and it's what I'm after in terms of only loading it on the person model admin. I can't waste my time on this sort of trivial thing. So first, ensure that Django is set up to serve static files correctly. This includes running Python manage py static if you're in a production environment. I'm not in a production environment, I'm in a development environment. Run that command nonetheless. File path. Check that the file is in form view extra.js is correct. It should be relative to any of the directories defined in your static files directories. Not leading with a slash setting. Without the leading slash. There it is, yeah. So it is relative. To static. Sure, there are no syntax errors. Inspect the browser. Use your browser's developer tools to check whether the file is loaded or not. You might see an error message in your console. Make sure you're using a Wagtail version that supports form view extra.js. This was added in Wagtail 2.13. Which we're using Wagtail 5. Overriding model admin templates. If you're overriding any model admin templates, ensure you're including all the necessary blocks like extra.js in your templates. Okay, this could be the case. But I think we would be defining those here. Yeah, the only model admin templates we're overriding are relating to the inspect template or orders, bookstore orders, or something like that. Somewhere we have, but not here. Custom CSS and JS. If you have any other custom CSS and JS, make sure they are not conflicting. Clear the cache. Clear the browser's cache. I'm pretty sure I've done that. The browser is not even attempting to load your person/slug.js file. There is no request for the file showing up in the network tab of your browser's developer tools. Then there are a few possibilities. It could be a configuration error, as mentioned before. There might be an error in your configuration. Ensure that the path to your JavaScript file in the form view extra.js list is correct. It should be relative to any of your static files dirs or the static directory of any installed applications. So we got static, JS, contact, person URL slug.js. Let's check our static files directories.